Welcome to Builder Nation Procurement Edition. In this episode, we are going to explore the world of procurement and supply chain management with industry experts. From avoiding common pitfalls to optimizing processes, we will uncover how procurement fuels companies and plays a crucial role in bringing products to market. Keep watching to learn more about insights, strategies, and real-world success stories. Today, we are joined by Chris Turner, co-founder and vice president at Czero. Hi, Chris, and welcome to Builder Nation.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, start with this. Present yourself. Tell us something about the work that you are doing now, or a little bit of background.
Yeah. So as Tasha mentioned, I'm Chris Turner, co-owner and VP of engineering here at Czero. My background is largely in mechanical design. I do still a little bit of engineering, but a lot with running the business. We have a lot of projects going on currently, a lot with the DOE, the DoD. We work with OEMs, small startup companies, but we're, relatively speaking, a pretty small company. We're about 30 people, but we work in mechanical design, controls, modeling, simulation, do a lot of first-time prototypes for people.
Yeah, and now that you are talking about the small companies, big companies, can you give us like a high-level view of the current procurement challenges, maybe for startups, or the difference between the startups and the established, like large established companies?
Yeah, from my own experience, just to give people a background, the procurement that we do is a lot of, we do some commercial off-the-shelf components, but we have a tremendous amount of custom items that require either custom machining or manufacturing. Some of the challenges I'd say that we kind of run into with these projects that are a lot of times just one-time projects or first-time prototype types are, timelines, right? Trying to get this, this equipment in expeditiously, quickly, so that we can really shrink the timelines, which are often a necessity for these projects. Other challenges is we often buy commercial off-the-shelf components and sub-assemblies where we're using them for a non-standard application. So many times we have to talk to application engineers and get them a little bit out of their comfort zone and tell them that, hey, we're not going to rely on your warranty. We know that we're using it non-standard. We'll do the engineering to make sure it works. And just getting them to talk to us about these things is sometimes difficult, but we do okay there.
Yeah, I can understand about the timelines. You sometimes you have to have something really quick, and it's hard to get sometimes, or hard to do it. But I think it's something that a challenge maybe that you face during all these years. But what do you think will be the most difficult decision that you have to take about procurement, of course, at Czero during all this time?
Difficult decisions. Yeah, we are, a lot of times we have projects that, as I mentioned, we're a small company, and we may be buying equipment that is, hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And due to timelines, a lot of times to get the schedule to work, we have to buy those bits of equipment early, oftentimes before the full design is complete. We do our due diligence to make sure that they will work for the particular application, but in many times, like I said, it's not fully designed, and so there's a little bit of a risk there. And as a small company, when you shell out a large amount of money, I guess as a business owner, that's always a little nerve-wracking. But so far, knock on wood, we haven't got bit there. We have a group of great engineers, so they do their due diligence, and thus far it's worked out okay.
Yeah. When I was talking with Guy, that we are, for the people that doesn't know, we interview Guy Babbitt, too, of Czero. So he was telling me about the team that you have at Czero, and I was so impressed. But because sometimes it's hard to find a good team of engineers, a good team in general of people that is going to do have the same vision, do the work that you want to be like perfect or whatever you want. It's hard sometimes to find that kind of people, and I think in Czero you have it.
Yeah, absolutely. Another obstacle that comes to mind as well, just in the procurement as a small company is, and I'm sure many other companies can commiserate here, is we don't have much leverage, and oftentimes we're not, excuse me, we're not buying in bulk, right? Because like I said, we're doing single prototypes, and so we oftentimes fall to the bottom of the list for some of those companies because we're not, it's not like we're buying a million or 100,000 of these widgets. Um, and so that can also be difficult, as it does typically extend timelines because you're kind of bottom of the list. They'll get to it when they can. Um, so yeah, that is another challenge as well.
Yeah, yeah, I understand, and I try to imagine how hard it is sometimes for you to take decisions, to face this kind of challenge for you, and of course the rest of the team too. But I want to know if with all these new things that we have now in the last years, the tools to manage inventory, maybe the AI that we have now really present in our lives. I think we that kind of tools became everything more simple. The automation plays a role in that. Did you notice the impact of AI or other tools in terms of procurement when you have to manage something?
Yeah, I'd say, well, for us, AI and things like ChatGPT and some of those things that are readily available, that certainly is helpful. With C0, I mean, it does short circuit a lot of the time required to identify suppliers of certain pieces of equipment, of which we work with, like I said, many projects, so it's just fast. There's a lot of different types of equipment we buy. That has certainly helped. I know that in our R&D efforts, for research, our approach is not to rely on a single tool. We use a wide variety of tools when we do our research and development. AI is now one of them, but we never rely on one specific tool. We want to use other things like discussions with subject matter experts, the use of scholarly papers, internal knowledge from our vast array of experience that we have in the engineers here. In terms of inventory, budget, timelines, that sort of thing, we don't rely too much on AI. We've developed our own tools and templates for tracking that sort of thing, bill of materials, et cetera, because there's always different. It's not like we have a specific inventory, right, that we use and reuse over and over. And so that, for those reasons, that isn't necessarily a fit.
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, I understand, but I think that nowadays we have like a lot of options. Like as you said, like you don't rely only to the AI. You can have many other options to any other tools to manage, as you said, budget, inventory, and everything. So I think it's super interesting to hear that too. And now that we talk about the tools, about how you face challenging decisions, how you take decisions actually at C0, what advice would you give to the startups who are just starting to build their own procurement strategies?
Yeah. So just from the experience at C0, I think one thing that we implemented quite a few years ago that's been really helpful is keep a list of the vendors that you use. Large companies always have an approved list of vendors. We've kind of followed that practice. Granted, well, sometimes it's a rather large list just because we do so many different things, but constantly grade them, right? So that you know which ones are responsive, which ones deliver your orders accurately and on time. And it's important to continually go back to that list and keep a recent grade on those vendors, because companies evolve, right? They may go from an A company to a C or a D company, and they may fall off the list, or vice versa, right? We've also gone back to some vendors that initially were having a tough time, or they weren't very responsive to us, just to give them another shot. And we're pretty open with our vendors as well and telling them our true feedback, like, hey, we've chosen not to use you because of A, B, and C. And many times they'll reach out in the future and they become a great supplier for various different things for us. I'd also say another thing that we've learned, which is obvious, but I'll say it anyway, is don't limit your purchases to local vendors. I know some small companies may do that because, they may be able to avoid shipping charges and things like this that are added cost to a project, and they're trying to be very inexpensive. But time is money. And a lot of times some of those external vendors or out of state can be a lot more responsive and overall end up less expensive, even though there are some of these added charges by dealing with someone that's not directly or local rather.
Yeah. I think, I was about to ask you about pitfalls that people need to avoid, but you already said that. Yeah. So I think it's really interesting. It's really important what you said. I also had in mind that what you said, that give a second shot to maybe as you said, the vendor, the first time they were not so responsive, they were not so present, or they have I don't know, many things that could happen at that moment, but you try again, and if it's, you never know if you give it a try. So I think it's really important what you said.
Yeah, and we know it because we've lived it, right? We've evolved. We know we're a very different company than we were 18 years ago. And so, we know that companies evolve. But I do think it's important, though, to keep those lists. Absolutely. It's helped us a lot.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it's super interesting what you say. I want to thank you, Chris, for being here and share all your knowledge, your experience, your background with us. It was really good to hear your ideas and learn everything from you. And you want to share any social media or website with the audience?
Yeah. I mean, our website is www.czero-solutions.com. We also do have a new machine shop that we spun out. It's very much in the line of procurement. We try to vertically integrate, and that's www.quixik.com. You can also find us on LinkedIn as well under C0-Solutions. So thank you for letting me get that out there.
Yeah, thank you. And for everybody that is watching, be sure to visit our website, buildernation.io. You can also connect with us on LinkedIn by following Builder Nation for the latest updates and exclusive content. And of course, subscribe here to our channel. Thank you all for being part of this amazing community. We will see you in the next episode. And thanks again, Chris, for joining us today.
Thank you.